it has a delay. I'm also a gamer, and maybe this is where our worlds collide just a little bit. So as you can see, I'm an interesting, strange professional. I'm a gamer, I'm a consultant, and I'm an economist. Now what happens is that in my consulting experience, I have managed to work, I had the privilege to work with developers, with analysts, with QA, with you name it. And I learned some things about IT professionals. I discovered, let's say, some characteristics. Now I haven't told this to anyone, so you're the first people to hear it. And I would like to tell you these characteristics, and you will tell me if they're true, if you consider them true. So first of all, do you hear me okay? Is the sound okay? Yeah. Great. Okay, what I learned about working with IT professionals. They can spot non-authentic behavior. It happened to me in several contexts. It's some sort of a sixth sense, I think, that you guys have. And I've been talking to a friend who's a developer, or during seminars I've been talking to participants. And you know, I'm a consultant, so I don't say you're wrong. I say, you could be right in a certain context in which the universe may come into conjunction with Venus and other planets. And whenever I do this, I see them looking at me and saying, dude, why don't you just say what's on your mind? And I'm like, wow, how did you do that? That's great! How did you identify the fact that I had a non-authentic behavior? I'm blown away by this. Do you guys think you have this? Raise your hand. Do you think? Oh, not so many people. Maybe this pattern is not the right one. I'm going to tell you the next one. And who raised their hands, please? Raise your hands up. Masters, teach me, please. You know, some people actually spend a lot of time studying this, studying how to spot non-authentic behaviors, and I think you guys have it. Now, the next thing is, I think there's a trust in exceptions. And let me tell you here the story. I've been delivering a leadership seminar at IT professionals, and I had testers and developers in the room. And I had a model, it had 7 steps. They were easy steps, they were clear. I prepared a lot to deliver this model. And I found myself looking at the whole room after I finished presenting the model. And I was looking at them, and I was expecting them to be good model. But they were all like, and I was like, oh, something's wrong. So I said, okay, tell me what's wrong with the model. And the first one raised his hand and said, well, your model, Agi, it does not work when, and gave me a condition, when the model does not work. So I was like, yeah, you're right, it does not work in that condition. And then the second one raised his hand and said, you know what, your model does not work in this condition, and gave me an even broader condition in which the model did not work. And I was like, yeah, it's true, it does not work in that condition. And then it hit me. And I said, this model may not work in some conditions, but in some other conditions, it may work. And in that moment, from this, they went to... And in that moment, I heard a song. I don't know if it was inside my head, or they were actually singing it, I don't know, but the song went like this. I found a bug in your system, I found a bug in your system. This is what I need to do. This is what I'm going to do from now. So when I present the model to an IT professional, this is how I go about it. I say, this is the model, and now let me tell you when it doesn't work. So who thinks this is true? Oh, better, really better. Okay, good. The third thing. The third thing. I think that IT professionals know much about a lot. I was in my early career stages, I was presenting a model, a leadership model, made by a guy called Blanchard. And I said, this Blanchard guy, he knows stuff. We should trust what Blanchard says. And, of course, they were looking at me and said, Blanchard is cool. And the first one raised his hands up, and they weren't my age. And as a consultant, I'm supposed to raise information and be very, very prepared for such discussions. And the first one said, but what about Tenenbaum's model? And then the second one raised his hand and said, but how about Paul Hershey's model? And again, I was weak. And I said, well, both of them are okay. And you know what I realized then? The first bullet. They can spot non-authentic behavior. And I said, you don't know shit about them. And I figured, they know much more than I do. And I don't know how you guys know all this stuff. I'm guessing a lot of Google, but I'm just guessing here. But you seem to know a lot, or they, the ones that I've been working with, they seem to know a lot, much about a lot. Raise your hands if you think this is true. Still working with that side of the room. Okay, good. So, these are 3 patterns that I've discovered. Of course, they're not universal laws, but I think they're parts of the behavior that we see very, very often in IT professionals. Okay, now, enough about me. I don't want to talk more about me. I'm just going to tell you now why I think this type of meeting is very, very important. I think it's very important because, first of all, I think that in order to evolve, you need to surround yourself with smart people. And at one point, I was a project manager for a project, and then somebody asked me, "Are you the smartest guy in your team?" And I thought about the answer just a little bit, and then I said, "I certainly hope not. I certainly hope I'm not the smartest guy in my team, because if I am the smartest guy in my team, we're in deep trouble." I think you need to surround yourself with smart people in order to evolve, and this is what we're doing here. We're getting surrounded by smart people in order to see how they're doing stuff, to relate to them, to exchange experiences, and then be smarter. If any of you walk out this hotel today after all the event is done, and you don't feel at least 1 inch smarter than you came in, than when you came in, then this means that this has been a waste of your time. But I can assure you that this is very unlikely to happen. Because there are a lot of people here, we will have some very good presenters, and you will get to share with them these experiences. The second thing is that I think a single conversation with a really smart man, or not that smart, but a single smart man, let's say, can be more meaningful than years of study. And again, this is the opportunity that we have here. We can relate to people and see their experiences in this field. And there are a lot of us here. So this is the good part of this event. Okay, now, networking, very important. We will have a lot of time for networking. Right now we're going to start with a session that goes on for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then we will have 3 people here afterwards in a power breakfast, as we call it. They're going to eat, and we're going to look at them. And if we can, we're going to ask them some questions. Afterwards, at around 11, we're going to have another speaker here. We'll go for 20 minutes, as you can see in your agendas. And afterwards, we will have some coffee break and networking time. After 12 o'clock, we will be split into 4 different agendas, as you can see there. And I guess you already decided which agenda you will be joining. And I'm going to tell you more about it when the time comes. So, for now, one last thought. I will be bringing in front of you some speakers, okay? But it's not only about what they say, it's also about how much you will interact with them or with other colleagues that you have during or in the breaks. During the presentations or in the breaks. So feel free to ask questions, feel free to intervene, feel free to get involved in these presentations. Because as you will see, these speakers will be very flexible and will adapt to the situation. Okay, good. The joke with the consultant I'll tell you later because we're running just a little bit late, and I'm sorry we started a little bit late. We had to register everybody that came in, but we're getting on and we are taking all the time now. So, are you ready for the first guest? I'm spotting the non-authentic behavior. No, I genuinely and authentically want to bring this person in front of you. So, first of all, we're gonna invite the person in front of us, and we're gonna call Calinescu here, and you're gonna give him a big round of applause. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Good morning.
Me?
Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone. Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to spoil what introduction Dennis has already prepared for you. I'm just going to tell you that he co-founded 3 startups, and he's been involved in several launches of mobile and web products. I'm going to leave that to you from now. But every speaker that comes here, we need to put him through a trial, let's say. And we're going to ask every person that comes here a personal question, okay? The first question, I'll ask the first question, and then you can guys ask the first question.
They get to ask questions. Okay.
They also get to do it, but not to you. To you, I'm asking the question, okay? Because it's only the start, it's the morning. So now, can you tell us what's one thing in your life that you cannot live without?
Air. I have to go with a serious answer. My wife and children, my 4th child, I have 4 kids, was baptized yesterday. So my babies and my wife.
All 4 of them cannot live without.
All 5 of them.
All 5 of them.
Can't live without them.
No, we're going to leave
Alright, good morning everyone. I'd love to say I'm from Cluj as well, but I'm not. I'm from the other Cluj, Bucharest. So I was born in Bucharest, but my parents immigrated 25 years ago, and without getting too political, in the Mineriada, wherever was old enough to remember. But in 1990, my parents just left. And so I was born in Bucharest. I grew up in Toronto, Canada, and now I kind of feel like a Clujan because I've been here for 5 years, and I'd love to stay here. So one of the questions I've asked myself for a long time, when I was in Canada as well, but when I came back to Romania as well, I lived for 1 year in Timișoara as well, so I've seen a few cities. I've asked this question several times with my friends, with myself, of everyone. And the question is this, in the past 10 years or so, right, maybe even more, but let's say last decade, we had a lot of successful startups. We had billion-dollar companies that we all know, YouTube, Facebook, I mean, huge companies. And the question I asked myself, and I'm asking you today, is this, why do you think that most of those startups come from a certain part of the world, right? Most of the startups come from North America, obviously, right? We know that. But let me actually turn the question around a little bit and say this. How is it that we have so many smart developers? And we know that we do, right? We know that we do have a lot of smart developers in Romania. And you're all hired. I'm assuming none of you is showman, right? You all have jobs. So that means someone wants your services and your skills and you're smart. So how come we have all this technology and all this knowledge now, we have everything that everybody else around the world has, but we don't have any billion-dollar companies. I mean, we have a few companies, right, that do relatively well. How come that we don't have any local companies? And I'm not saying the foreign companies should pick up and leave. Not really. All I'm saying is, one of my dreams when I was in Canada, I was dreaming about, a Romania that was so awesome that, I could go with my friends in Canada or, you have people in potentially Silicon Valley right now chilling in Starbucks and say, oh my goodness, this app is amazing, right? And you go to the About section and it says, made with love in Cluj. That'd be awesome. So that's my dream. And I came back to Romania, and everybody thought I was crazy. Everybody thinks that I'm still crazy, including my parents and my brother, who did not come. But this is being recorded. Will they hear this? Okay. So just between the 500 of us. My dream is, and my hope is that Romania, and I really believe Cluj particularly, in the next, say, 5 to 10, 15 years, will be a place that will give birth to a lot of amazing, huge products and services. I believe that. I believe that. So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about this thing that you see in the title. For a lack of a better name for it, I'm calling it full stack development. But it could be, we could give it other names, you know, an entrepreneur, technical co-founder, or whatever you want to call it. But the bottom line is that I believe there's a new breed of developers that companies want. And outside of Cluj and outside of Romania, a lot of companies are fighting for this developer. They want this developer so much, right, that they're willing to even import them. And I truly believe that the landscape in our IT, and I hate calling IT, because it's not IT. IT is ops, right? But software, in our software industry, it's not IT, right? In our software industry, I really believe the landscape is going to change in the next 5 to 10, 15 years, let's say 5 to 10 years, so much so that the type of software we will write today is going to be secondary to the new type of software we will write. And I really believe that a lot of you, for sure, I really believe a lot of you or your friends will have startups and you will own companies and you will employ a lot of people, hopefully. I'm hoping that will happen. And now, I'm going to be a little sentimental here, and I hate doing that, but I will, a little bit, okay? And another really hidden, private dream of mine, I'm not going to tell you my private dreams, just this private dream, is that my kids, one day, will not dream of leaving Romania, like I did and my parents did. They will actually love being here and say, you know what, this is great, I love Cluj. There's this $1 billion company I could work for that was founded by a guy that my daddy gave a talk to 20 years ago. That's my dream. So my dream is that my kids will work for some of you in 20 years, but that means they better be good leaders, because I'm not going to let my kids work for you guys if you're not good leaders. So part of my personal mission, why I want to do stuff and go and talk and so forth, is really because I truly believe that if we spread the right kind of information, we will have these kind of leaders, and we will have leadership companies in many industries, all the industries, why not? So first of all, let me tell you, as briefly as I can, why I think companies, even here, even locally, will want this kind of developer. And then I'm going to go into a little bit about what this kind of developer is, but I'm not going to go into all the details. We can talk about that another time. I'm just going to talk about 5 trends that I believe are pushing, and I think we use another verb, they're forcing current software companies to change their models. So 5 trends. First trend is the fact that a lot of really smart scientists back in the 80s and 90s, they came up with, in particular, this one named Mark Weiser. And whoever knows this, awesome. If anyone knows this, I'm so happy. But if you don't, hopefully you'll know it now. So there's a scientist, Mark Weiser, in the 80s and 90s, at this research center called Xerox PARC, created this concept of this theory of computing that goes something like this. From like the 40s, 50s, you know, we had the mainframe computing era, you know, where you had these huge computers that were used by many people. So you have one huge computer, right, used by many people. And the people have to be truly rocket scientists. So they walk into this room, huge computer, so basically relationship of computers to people, one to many, right? I'm talking geek talk. We get this, right? Like math. One to many, right? So one computer, many people. Around the 80s, remember Bill Gates and the famous, you know, IBM and Apple and the whole PC era, personal computing era? the whole thing, remember when, I think Bill Gates his dream was one computer in every household. One. Right? He didn't dream like 50 like we have now, like Fitbits and iPhones and iPhones. Right? So he dreamt really far. He dreamed really far. His dream was PC, personal computing. So the second era, 80s, right? You could even argue 70s, up to around the beginning of the 21st century, these scientists are saying 2005-ish. Personal computing era. 1 to 1. Right? So we have one to many, 1 to 1. And what they're saying is the next era and the transitional period being roughly around between 2005 and 2020, right? So technically we're in that period now, if they're right, and I think they're right, would take us into a new era of computing that was called different terms over the years. When I was studying this, 10 years ago, I studied this in school. It was ubiquitous computing or pervasive computing. The name now, or a derivative of it, is Internet of Things, right? But what that means is that so remember, the mainframe, one computer to many people, personal computing, one computer to one person. Now we're talking many computers, one person. Think about your house or your car. Computers in your pocket, computers in your laptop. At home, maybe you'll have a desktop. I don't know if people still have desktop, but maybe you have a desktop replacement, big Mac, big laptop or something, right? You have Fitbits, that measure your health and so forth. You have tons of things. Now we're talking about, obviously, people talking about IoT, and you talk about wearable computers, and we're thinking, there's talk about smart dust, right? Like MEMS, where you can inhale computers and they go into your body and they give you signals about the health of your body. I mean, this is reality, right? If you don't believe me, go to mbus.io and check it out if you have Wi-Fi. So the bottom line is that we're in that era now. So I think this is one of the main forces that are pushing companies to say, look, we can't just do software like we've been doing it all this time, because even if we wanted to, we just can't. I mean, it's a force, it's a market force. So the first market force I want to share with you, this force that we're in an era now, and we're pretty fortunate, I would say, that we're in an era where we're just transitioning to this ubiquitous computing era. I think in 10 years, we'll have coffee cups, right, that basically have sensors in them that tell the waiter when it's, like below the acceptable level of coffee in a cup, and they'll probably just know by who knows what basic simple proximity sensors what table you're at, he'll come and fill it for you, or who knows, right? I mean, it's not unimaginable to think that, is it? So I think this is the era. So that's one trend. The other trend is that there's a website called Programmable Web. If you go to programmableweb.com, I've been following this website for a long time. And it's this website that gathers all the APIs out there. So if there's an API, if anyone has an API, you'll find it on this website. And they categorize it, and it's really awesome. And I remember years ago, they had like 500 APIs. Oh man, Facebook has an API, Google Maps has an API, so I can write Maps apps, and Weather.com has an API. Well, I looked this morning at 4 a.m. It's got over 13,000 APIs. Now, that's a huge number. That's a huge number. And why this is an important trend, I think it's because, imagine you want to write an application or a web app or whatever, mobile app, and you want to accept payments, right? Well, back in the day, you had to go through all the hassle of implementing payments, right? Now, just use the Stripe API. It's $1 billion company. They're not going to go down. Just use it, or use Braintree, or whatever. Use something. It's there. Like, you want voice? Twilio, $1 billion company. They're not going to go down. Right? And it's really cheap. And another thing that's obviously making this it's changing the landscape for the companies is obviously cloud computing. I mean, imagine the mainframe days. It was crazy expensive to have a mainframe. Who had a mainframe? We can't have a mainframe in every city or in every house. But now you go to DigitalOcean, right? $5, freaking SSD. It's insanely cheap. You can run your own web servers, crazy connection. I mean, you can go to Amazon, right? AWS and just provision whatever you want. You don't need it, you kill it. I mean, it's cheap. It's almost disposable when you think about it. And now with Docker, right? We're moving away from visualization to containers. I mean, it's so cheap and so fast that servers, we're not even talking about thin clients anymore. We're pretty much talking about thin servers. And you can even throw away servers. That's how disposable they are, right? So that's the second trend. The third trend is that these days, if you're not even a front-end guy, let's say you're a back-end guy, and by the way, I hate this term. I don't think anyone should be referring to themselves as back-end and front-end. But let's just keep going with this right now because we're not there. But so let's say you do back-end Java or .NET or whatever. Maybe you've never done HTML and CSS in your life, but you heard about it. And the last time you did HTML, there was those animated GIFs, remember? Right? But now it's like this cool thing, HTML5. That's not cool anymore in a couple of years because there'll be HTML. Anyway, so you have to learn a whole lot of stuff. Well, luckily, there's tons of frameworks. Open source frameworks like Bootstrap, right? Like Foundation or whatever. People can write a simple landing page in like a matter of a day or 2 or hours, right? I'm not a web developer, right? My background is mobile. I've worked with mobile for a long time. But I can do a landing page really fast now because it took me, I don't know, a day or 2 to learn Bootstrap, boom, 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 do some grids, you're done. You don't have to learn all the crap. Or JavaScript developers, now jQuery, I know it's not cool anymore, but you used it, and you're still using it, right? You don't have to parse your own code, you just use it. Imagine doing all the crap that jQuery does for you. Or come on, Spring developers, right? Java developers. Imagine all the stuff that Spring does for you, right? So it's all free. It's all free, other than Oracle. I hope no one's presenting Oracle here. But so that costs a lot of money. But most of this stuff is free. I mean, now Node.js. I don't know, any Node.js guys or girls? Any Node.js? Good for you. Node.js. I mean, if you know a little bit of JavaScript, and you probably learned jQuery a few years ago, right? I mean, that was your probably first. See? First thing, jQuery. Okay, do a little bit of like Ajax, right? Okay, cool stuff. And then, well, I know jQuery, I know a bit of JavaScript, might as well write my own API. You couldn't write your own API 3 years ago, could you? You have to go to the Java guys and say, can you please, Mr. Java guy, write me a big API? You would do that, right? Now you can write your own API. You know what that means? That means disruption. That's disruption because this one guy now, or girl, can do their own API, can do the front end, can do some fancy native stuff. And let's not get into native stuff. That's my thing. So, so I'm philosophical about things. I'm religious about native mobile apps. But the point is, you can even do some mobile apps, right? So what that means is that we're getting to a point where, in addition to the first trend I said, computing power, crazy cheap, and the new computing era, what did I say? Two was no coffee, for goodness sake, I had no coffee today. Okay, so 2 was the APIs where you can just add features to your software easily, very easily, right? 3, you have all these tools. And you don't have to redo all this stuff. Some smarter guys, and we can be humble enough, hopefully as developers, to say there's smarter people than ourselves who did this and thought about this, right? So you use that. Now 4, knowledge. I mean, how many of you spend at least 1 hour a day on Stack Overflow? Come on. Yeah, so that's our next question, Stack Overflow. Everyone spends time on Stack Overflow, right? But now this is a side. I'm just going to ask this question. I didn't plan this, but let me ask that other question. How many questions do you answer on Stack Overflow? Do you answer questions? 10 per day? Huh? 100? 10 per day? We're at a lot. Anyone else answers questions on Stack Overflow? Okay, great. We should have a panel with the guys who answers the questions on Stack Overflow. But this proves my point. I'll get back to this. So we all use Stack Overflow as consumers. Right? We use Stack Overflow, which is good. It's a good step. Now, a lot of people there have been through the problems we encounter as developers, right? I'm a developer. I'm in the same boat. So I built something. I'm like, come on, I was working on an app, and I'm working on an app recently with some Bluetooth stuff, and I'm like, someone must have done Bluetooth in Swift. Bluetooth, Swift, boom, bunch of guys. Of course, you pick the one that has like 300 upvotes. For sure, it must be the right answer. You look at the date, just 3 months ago, awesome, I'm done. You know what that means? That means that someone else has done the thinking for you, right? It's okay to steal in software, right? Obviously, don't quote me on that, but I mean, it's okay to learn, right? It's research if you steal from a lot of sources, right? So if you find the gist, right, on GitHub, and if you find the Stack Overflow questions and you put them together, it's research. But the point is, we learn from them. Just like you have this smart person at the office, if you tap them on the shoulder every day and ask them, how do I do Bluetooth on Swift, even if they know, they'll just probably headline you. They're like, everyone's asking me questions, Go on Stack Overflow, find out for yourself. Now we can. Years ago, we couldn't. I remember one funny story. I was working at this company in 2004, and I was writing mobile apps. And back then, there was no iPhone, right? It was like Nokia phones and J2ME. The Java guys know J2ME, right? Mobile Java, right? So it was mid P1 and mid P2, if everyone remembers that. Anyway, so basically, you could not debug your app because there were no such thing as debuggers. The only phone that had debuggers, they could plug in a wire and you could put a breakpoint in Eclipse to point. Yeah, we had Eclipse, but okay. It was Sony Ericsson. But most of the phones, the cool ones, were like the Motorola's and the Nokias. So I worked at this company with a bunch of guys, and funny enough, the smartest guy there was a Romanian guy, but that's another story. So we invented a little tool, a debugging window that you press a secret key on the phone, like the feature phone, right? And you pop up, it's like a little console, right? Like a console log on your screen. And you pop up in your 128 by 128 Nokia phone right there. So you took the little pixels, and then you go to this level because we program games, and you go to level 5, and then you print something. Oh, I got it! It was so hard, man. When the iPhone came out, and I started doing iPhone development in 2008, I'm like, what, you mean I just plug in and, what? Anyone can do this. So the bottom line, I know it hurts to say this, but development is getting easier. It's getting easier and easier because we have companies dedicated to helping developers. I think it's a good thing. But that means that we're in a new landscape. So knowledge is there. Anyone can pick up coding. I actually wrote a blog recently, well not that recently, but I wrote a few blogs about teaching my daughter how to write code. And it became so popular, I'm like, oh my goodness, it got 8,000 and like almost 9,000 people, like unique visitors in one day. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And there were all these guys who had their startups and tech fathers, Like, oh, one guy's like, I have a 3-month-old child, and I'm compiling resources so that when she grows up, I'll point her in the right direction because I want her to know technology. I love that. I really, really, really love that. And the point is that it's easier to do technology. I have a friend in Canada, a Romanian guy, part of our family, and the kid's so smart. He's 12, and I'm like, you code like your daddy? He's like, I just know a bit of JavaScript, a bit of Python, a bit of he lists like 10 languages. I'm like, what do you mean? I wrote a few games, whatever. So what do you want to be? I want to be an architect. So, okay, so you know what that means? That means that 100 years ago, people were saying to their kids, you know what, go to school, learn English, or whatever language, French, Romanian, because, if you don't know how to read and write, you're not going to be anyone in this life. I mean, that was a fundamental, it's still a fundamental skill. But we don't learn languages or be professional novelists or professional English teachers, right, professors. We just know it's an important skill. Same thing with math. Most of us, I want to be a mathematician, but I didn't, right? But most people learn math because you have to. You're not going to be a mathematician. I think the same thing is going to happen in the next decade with coding. And there's this concept of coding literacy where you're going to need to know how to, not just like back in the day where you have to, you're a genius if you know how to program your VCR. There's this joke about, I can't even program a VCR. Well, don't worry about that. Now you have to program your walls, right? Because they're going to be all encoded and encrypted, and you have to program your car, and you have to program your hover car probably into whatever, right? So you have to know coding. So this is it. And the other part of knowledge that's really important, you probably heard of it, the lean startup, right? The lean startup movement. And what's interesting about the lean startup is that after years and years of talking about the lean startup and people adopting it, it's almost sort of like the scientific method applied to the crazy, mysterious art of startup. Right? Because when you think of startups, you're like, oh, it's probably going to fail. Who's going to invest money? So it's like this crazy risk-taking adventure that you have to take or not to take. Most people don't take. So these guys invented these techniques and this really smart things that you can put together, like the business canvas model, or the business model canvas, where you can start thinking about your canvas and so forth. So you can learn about this for free, and there's a lot of other interesting things aside from technology that you can learn about to get you started. So you don't have to invent this stuff. So if you want to do something today, you can just piggyback on the shoulders of like thousands of people that are successful. That's cool. That's free knowledge. Right? So we have the computing, right? We have the services, the APIs. We have the tools, the free tools and frameworks and platforms, and we have knowledge. The fifth thing that we have that's changing everything is funding and the different ways of raising money and getting access to money. Last year, Kickstarter, you heard of Kickstarter, right? Kickstarter is the most famous of this brand, the most popular one. You have Indiegogo and GoFundMe, but Kickstarter passed the $1 billion pledge, right? So that means that people paid $1 billion for products that did not exist. Now that's insane. But when you think about it, the software industry is catching up. Because think about this. When you look at an app on your iPhone or Android and you buy it, let's say you actually buy it. Like, let's assume you buy it. I know Android people don't buy apps. But let's assume you actually buy this one. You don't see the app. You see a description, some keywords, you see some reviews, and you see some screenshots. So you get a taste of the app. When you vote for a president, and again, I promise I'm not going to get political, but just a little bit, right? We didn't know what our president is going to be like. We just kind of like saw his campaign, and we kind of like made our bets. We placed our bets. Let's all go for this guy, right? So I think that's the way it's going to be with products as well. People now are willing to buy products. I mean, this is the way it is with products. People are willing to buy products based on a little taste, a video, a description, maybe a little review, a story, and they'll give you $20 in advance. You give them like maybe 50% discount or whatever, and you can raise money before you even have a product. Now that's strong. So what does that mean? So really quick, what does that mean? What does that mean for us developers? So these are the forces that are shaping the industry, I believe. I think there's a lot more, but I just stopped with these 5. And that means that companies, like pick any company in Cluj, I think they're gonna, if they have not looked at these forces, they will. They will, because they're just companies, right? If they're not gonna look at it like, okay, we're behind. We have to. So as soon as they're gonna look at these forces, and a lot of them are looking at these forces, they're gonna say this. Well, how can we be the next Slack? You know Slack, Slack.com, how many of you guys know Slack? Okay. Yeah, good job. So Slack, so the fact that you know about Slack, that means that there's no barriers between us using Slack in Cluj and some guy using Slack in San Francisco. Is there? There's no difference. We get access to the same stuff. Okay, it's valued at $2.8 billion. They raised a new fund of around $120 million, and their burn rate, I just looked, it's $100,000 per month, meaning they're only using 1% of their money. And they just said something, I just read a thing, like they just got $1 million in new contracts, recurring contracts, in the last 11 days. In the sense that they're growing, you know, the awesome hockey stick growth that every startup wants. They don't have the hockey stick growth. They have the freaking vertical growth. They just keep growing. I think they're going to grow backwards, like into whatever. So these guys, right? So these guys, now you have all these this awesome success stories, and the question is, and I think the question in everyone's mind here, and the companies are like, how can we be like that? What do we need? And I really think this is the answer to my question: why we don't have that.
And I don't think it's the money, I don't think it's the tools, I don't think it's the computing part, because I just went through them, they're accessible to us. I really think it's the mindset, right? And I think we can, and this is my hope. My hope is that after this conference and maybe after this talk, you can do the last 3 things if I have time to go through them really quick, and you will just click, right? You can make decisions that will click and you will change. So the first thing that I want to say is you should make decisions in your everyday job for the customer and not for your manager. And this is horrible. Managers will hate this, but I don't care. Right? Because you do whatever you have to do for your customers. So I think developers, if they start becoming customer-centric and they start understanding their customer and their problems, not just the solutions, that's the new breed of full-stack developer who understands the customer, and they don't just are efficient, but they're effective in the sense that, your boss says, build this awesome feature. And you're like, yes, sir. And you build it, and it's unit tested and awesome, 90% coverage, efficient, right? And no one wants to buy it. Not effective. I think the new breed of developers will say, sir or ma'am, I think the competition doesn't have that, and they had it and they pulled it because no one wanted to buy it. Maybe we should do this other thing. Now, perhaps today, managers will say, screw you, you're fired, I want executors. But I think there's a new breed of companies who will say, oh my goodness, you just got a raise. I want more people like you. Right? So I think that's the first thing. Move your career from just, yes, sir, manager focus, boss focus to customer, but you have to learn the customer. You have to, right? Second thing, I think we have to move from an agile where agile is already old. The manifesto was 14 years ago. 14 years ago in software is huge. So 14 years ago, they wrote this manifesto. One of the guys, Dave Thomas, one of the founders of the manifesto, he even wrote recently, and he said, agile is dead. Long live agility. So agile is a god. And the people that work with me, you know this, right? I think Agile is a god. Agile is a god that people bow to. Bow to the Agile God, right? And we use Agile with a capital A as a noun. And you go to companies and say, we do Agile. We worship Agile. But it's supposed to be an adverb. We are Agile. We move with agility. So I think a better adverb I found is fluid, in the sense that, from science, you have fluids and you have solids. A solid, you take a rock, you can't change the shape of the rock, right? But a fluid takes the shape, adapts. So I think developers have to adapt and products have to adapt to the customer needs. So if you're customer-centric and the customer says, well, I don't want this, I want this, or I would buy this if you had this. If you're a rock, if you're agile with a big A, you're not going to change. Sorry, man, I'm in my release. I'm in my release. Don't, the agile God says, do not disrupt me, okay? And if you disrupt me, I'm going to sacrifice you to the agile, Scrum altar or whatever. So if you're fluid, you say, screw that. You're going to pay me $1 million, I'll do it. I mean, this is pivoting. So fluid dynamics will make you will allow you to pivot as fast as you want, right? So you have to move from agile to super agile. I call it fluid. And the third one, I think, is that in your career, my recommendation to move towards this concept of full stack development is to stop thinking vertically. We're being told and we're being ranked like this. You're a junior, you got a year or so experience, then you're a mid, then you're a senior, then if you're awesome, you're a team lead. By the way, the agile God doesn't like team leads. We're all a team, but we still have team leads, which is weird, right? And then if you're really awesome, you'll be a manager. And then you go to your grave and hopefully you retire and you'll be a taxi cab driver or something. Well, I have nothing with taxi, they're great. No, taxi cab drivers are great in Cluj. But the point is, I think that's just too linear. You have to be vertical, you have to be horizontal. If you're a developer, I think our code words should be similar to the code words you find in sales. You find this ABCs of selling, always be closing. I think as developers, we should always be coding, right? So I'm a manager and I code all the time, and I think you should code all the time. And you should do things that you haven't done before so you can keep sharp. And for example, if you've never done a branding, if you've never found a logo, if you've never done a slogan, if you've never done a logo, if you've never done a customer support ticket, just do it. Just do one that if you screw up, you're not going to burn down the building, hopefully. And just move vertically. Move horizontally, not just vertically. And who cares? Don't worry about mid and senior. Just be a full stack developer, man. Not senior, not mid. Just be a full stack developer. You could be one at 21, you could be one at 18, you could be one at 40, and just do the whole cycle. Like now we have awesome tools like Ansible for DevOps and Docker. You can do that. You can deploy your own apps. We have amazing tools end to end. You can do your own sales. You can do marketing. Of course, you're gonna piss off everybody else, right? Because they wanna do that stuff. But at least you can talk to them about it. At least you'll have a common language. And I think that's what full stack development is. And the bottom line is that if we start doing this, and these are just clicks in your brain, you could just make right away. If you start doing these three things: customer-centric versus management-centric, right? Fluid versus agile, right? And horizontal career versus vertical career. Just these three things. I think there's much more. If you do these three things, I really think that you'll be set on a different path. And when these guys are going to call you and they say, where would I find this person who can do this and this and this? And I'm willing to pay them whatever. We'll see. And I just want 2 of these guys to set up a new product and take it to market. Then you'll say, yeah, I'm a full stack developer. I can do it. Okay. So thank you. That's it. My time's up.